Good afternoon and welcome to our TCCTA membership perks conversation about convention time. It is almost convention time. My name is John Green with Association Member Benefits Advisors, and we're going to be talking today with Patrick Gilbert, Connor Payne, and Deanna Baucom about the logistics of the convention, all the stuff going on, and then we're going to jump in and discuss just briefly about ways that you can protect your nest egg as you save towards retirement, how you can protect that through some of your benefits that you have through AMBA. We are recording this session, make it available for you on the TCCTA website through social media channels as well. You'll also see this QR code down here at the bottom right-hand corner that you can use your smartphone, hover over that QR code and get more information on some of the stuff we discussed today. And if you then want to refer back to this webinar, you can see that as well. All question and answers, if you have those, please feel free to put those into Q&A or into chat, and we can answer those as we go along here. So I want to bring in Connor Payne here, who has been working feverishly on the convention this year. Connor, kind of walk us through, first of all, the agenda, and then I'll have Patrick introduce our keynote speaker, then come back to you and talk about logistics. So tell us what they can expect next week.
Yeah, so on Thursday, March 2nd, as you can see, our registration counters will open at noon, and these will be in the Westin Galleria foyer, which is on the third floor of the Westin Galleria. And we'll also have a registration counter open in the Westin Oaks on Friday, but only Friday. But I just want to make a note about pre-registering. It'll make your life so much easier if you pre-register before the convention, and you can do so in your member portal. Just make sure that your membership has been renewed for the 22-23 school year. And when you get into that member portal, if you just click on the events button under user options on the left-hand side, you'll be able to get registered for both the normal convention and also our Thursday evening banquet. The Thursday evening banquet is $35 and the regular convention is $125. And yeah, be sure to check out the convention webpage to see if your college is also one of our partnering colleges who is covering registration fees. I'm dropping that link in the chat. It's just bit.ly/76-annual-convention. So super easy for you guys. And it's also available on the TCCTA website as well. And then Thursday evening banquet will be taking place in the Woodway Ballroom, which is right up the stairs from the registration counter, which is on the fourth floor of the Westin Galleria. And be sure to review the convention messenger and the convention schedule, which is available online, so you can make your convention experience nice and breezy. And that will sum up this slide for you.
All right, great. Now, Patrick, your last role as president of TCCTA this year. You'll be wrapping that up at the banquet there. Tell us a little bit about Gerald, our keynote speaker, and what we can expect to hear from him.
Thanks, John. So, yes, Gerald Booker from the Higher Education Coordinating Board, he is going to be our keynote speaker this year. I heard Mr. Booker speak last summer at Leading from the Middle, and I talked to Richard, our executive director, and I said, I think he would be an ideal person. He's been at the coordinating board for a couple of years now, and he's moved along from assistant commissioner for college readiness and success, and now he is the Deputy Commissioner for Academic and Workforce Affairs. So we wanted someone to speak to both sides of the house. It's not just about academics, it's about workforce also. And that's why I wanted him to come. At Leading from the Middle, he made us think outside the box. And that's what we want, because our theme, as you have on the screen there, is honoring the past, but embracing. Key word is on embracing. The future is, wow, it can be whatever, really. And especially in a post-COVID world, we don't know what lies ahead for us, but all that we can do is to be ready. And so that is why I'm pleased to announce that Mr. Gerald Booker is going to be our keynote speaker at the banquet. And might I add also, we've not been saying too much about this, but on Thursday, after the banquet, we are going to have a reception, and everybody is invited this year. And as we celebrate 75 years.
Outstanding. Thank you, Patrick. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to see what Gerald has to share about the current and the future of education in the state of Texas as we continue to grow. Now, Patrick, getting around the Galleria and coming down to Houston for a lot of members is a little bit of a challenge. And so I put a couple of maps up here, and as you're coming in, whether you're coming in from the west on I-10, the north on I-45, could be 290 out of Austin area. Once you get in, you're looking at hitting all the way down to 610, and then 610 loop will get you down straight to the Galleria there. Tell us a little bit more about the logistics around the Galleria. You mentioned the Weston Galleria, and then you mentioned the Weston Oaks and all the stuff like that. So tell me more about what's in the area.
Yeah, so the exact address for the Weston Galleria, just so I can share it with you guys, is 5060 West Alabama Street. It'll make easier getting to the parking garage and stuff like that. And we'll also have the parking map on the next slide for you. With this walking map, we will have printouts available at the convention, and they're also in the pocket programs that you'll receive when you register. So if you see on the bottom right-hand side, the Weston Galleria Ballroom and the Weston Galleria third level with the Plaza Ballroom, there are meeting rooms on both sides of the Weston Galleria. But the registration is near the Weston Galleria Ballroom, which is the one closer to the top. And the Weston Galleria third level Plaza Ballroom is where meeting rooms are, your hotel rooms, and the hotel front desk, all that good stuff. So then you can see the red line that just takes you over to the Weston Oaks, and you'll be able to easily get there. There won't be any need for you to like swipe a key card or anything. The doors will be open for our convention attendees. So that makes it nice and easy for you guys. And in the Weston Oaks, we have meeting rooms on the third level and also the fourth level. So just make sure that you are reading the programs to make sure that you know where exactly those meeting rooms are located, and they are all updated with that information. So if it says like West Alabama, Weston Galleria, third floor, then you'll know where exactly that is.
Great. Like I said, having been down there quite a few times, I still get confused over which is the Weston Oaks, which is the Weston Galleria. So, you're traveling around there and you see this. Just a quick reference point. Give that address again, Connor, for the Weston Galleria.
Yep, 5060 West Alabama Street in Houston, Texas, obviously.
Okay. And so, like I said, that orange parking lot probably would be the best location for the Weston Galleria, the blue for the Weston Oaks. That way you can get free parking there. There is a wide variety of valet, paid parking, free parking, different levels, things like that. Highly encourage you to, study the map, use that address that Patrick gave you. Patrick, anything else from a convention logistics standpoint that you recommend before we move forward?
Yeah, so kind of mentioned something I really want to highlight. Unlike in Frisco, where we're at the embassy, right? The big gigantic hotel, everything's right there. With this one, the main, quote unquote, the main hotel is the Weston Galleria, but there are actually two. So you have the West, and this is for those who've never come, and I don't want them to be overwhelmed when they get there. We have two hotels. They're both the same, basically, but there are two. So the home base is the Weston Galleria. That's where registration is. That's where the banquet and all is going to be. But there's also the Weston Oaks. You have to walk through the mall to get to the Weston Oaks. Now that's tempting. I know that you want to stop and buy things, but it's also a draw because, when your session's over, you can go in and get something that you want. So there are two hotels. And when you made your reservations, if you're going to stay at the hotels, you may be in the Weston Oaks as opposed to the Weston Galleria. So that's why it may say something a little different. They're both great quality hotels, but just don't want any first timers to be confused and think that they're in another hotel on another side of town. That's not true. You never have to go outside. When you're in, you're in. That's it. You don't have to leave and go outside until Saturday. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Appreciate it. Connor, will you have information booths or registration booths at both? You mentioned one on one day and one on the other day. Will there be people at both places in case somebody gets lost, so to speak?
Yep, absolutely. So there will be 4 registration counters at the Weston Galleria, and then 1 registration counter at the Weston Oaks on the 3rd floor. Both are on the 3rd floor. And there will be a staffer there ready to help you. And we'll also have people floating around from our convention committee that are ready and willing to help you out as well with directions and stuff. And also just one more note across, you see on the bottom towards the bottom of the screen where the Weston Galleria is closest to the brown parking garage, and then that breezeway that is across the mall, but it's, you can see right directly into the Weston Galleria foyer, which is, there'll be a bunch of doors that will be open for you to get from the hotel side to the meeting room side. So just a little note on that.
Great, thank you very much. Connor reports that there were over 600 current registries for the convention, so we'll be pushing maybe a record number this year. So it should be a lot of fun. Highly encourage you go check out the website. Make sure that you get registered early. That'll be the quickest way to get in, but you can also get registered there on the spot as well. Connor, Patrick, thank you very much for sharing logistics. Just a couple of quick reminders. You do have benefits by being a member of TCCTA. Those benefits come, some of them are free and discounted. Some of them are access to benefits. Those through AMBA, Association Member Benefits Advisors, maybe would fill the gaps that aren't covered by your college benefits. They're portable. If you decide to move from college to college, they're not tied to your paycheck. You can take them with you, or if you retire, and you can extend your TCCTA benefits to family members who are not eligible for your school benefits. And if you do some proper planning, you can possibly avoid having to take off time or not teach classes because you've got to take care of a loved one. But today I want to talk a little bit about one of the bigger benefits. It's a relatively new benefit, and I want Deanna Bauckham to join me here in a moment to talk about this. It's how you protect your nest egg. And we do a lot of research at AMBA where we go out and go through, you know, what makes a stable retirement. You've got possibly a pension, depending upon how your school participates in TRS and ERS, Social Security, other savings, things like that, that make up your stable retirement income. But there can be threats. And some people think, well, what is my nest egg? Well, it's not necessarily an active pension or some type of 401B or 401K, something like that. It's not a spouse's Social Security money or mattress money, structured settlements. It could be a 401B, a 401B or a 401K type plan, 457 plan if your school offers that, or some type of cash balance or CD or inheritances. Those are your nest eggs. But there are 5 main threats to your nest eggs that could really scramble that in retirement or even now going forward. Those 5 in no particular order, but we're going to talk about them, are having to take care of elderly parents, the death of a spouse without life insurance, boomerang children, medical crisis, or overexposure to the stock market as we get older. And so I'm going to walk through rather quickly the 5 threats, some stats behind them, and some potential solutions that you have available to you through TCCTA and AMBA. Number 1 is taking care of elderly parents. And this is one that we see most often because as our parents age, or it could be us, we could be the elderly parents, as our parents age, they can't do for themselves as they used to. And they require more and more of family members to take care of them. And unfortunately, sometimes it gets to the point to where 70+% of all long-term care is provided in a home by an informal caregiver. That person has to usually take off their job. They either have to quit, take less hours, teach less classes during the semester, something like that. And that can have long-term repercussions on not only your earning power now, but your earning power in the future in terms of pension buildup, in terms of growing your nest egg as well. For a female, that can be about $300,000+ in their lifetime that they could miss out on because they have to take care of one of their loved ones. The good news is you have solutions, long-term care, home health care, and recovery care plans, along with your personal assets, kind of a hybrid opportunity. There are plans that you have available through TCCTA, through AMBA, that can help you cover those things and keep you working, but also more importantly, keep your parents or yourself protected and cared for in the manner which they deserve. The second major threat to your nest egg is dying of a spouse passing away without life insurance. And after about 6 months, 2 in 5 of us would have some type of financial pinch if our spouse passed away without life insurance. Having life insurance on your spouse, you yourself or somebody else in your family, can prevent you from having to dip into those retirement savings to pay for your college for kids, housing, medical plans, things like that. There are some plans, some solutions that you have available through AMBA and TCCTA regarding whole life, guaranteed life insurance, and it's a way to replace that spouse's Social Security if that could impact you, depending upon the way that your school pays into Social Security or not. But you have some opportunities that are out there for you. So I highly encourage you to look at your options that you have available. A medical crisis is also another possible way that scrambles individuals' nest eggs. Most bankruptcies in America today are caused by medical bills. And it's not because people are not insured and don't have health insurance through their school or through their place of employment. It's because usually 60% of all major expenses related to healthcare of the big three, cancer, heart attack, and stroke, are not covered by Medicare or insurance because they're usually travel-related expenses, recovery-related expenses, things outside of the treatment. Then you combine on top of that large deductibles as we go to more of these high deductible plans. Then you have balanced billing, which with networks of doctors, if you go outside the network, you get a bill, that type of thing. Those situations can really cause a major threat to your nest egg and can prevent you from really saving money in the long run. Some of the possible solutions are a cancer, heart attack, and stroke policy, recovery care, an accident plan, even a MASA membership. All of these benefits come to you through TCCTA and can provide you with peace of mind, knowing that if you got into an accident, you had to be transported via an ambulance or air ambulance somewhere, that your benefits would be covered, that your expense would be covered, and you wouldn't have to worry about having to pay that out of your pocket and have a major expense that could possibly wreck your nest egg. Number 4 is boomerang children. As we age and as our children age, we have more and more adult children living in the household than we ever have before in the history of America. And that can impact your retirement. So if you're thinking about retirement, look at these 2 stats here, that over half of the boomer households with children who do not live with them, they're fully retired, meaning that they've had the ability to fully retire, but only 21% of those households who have children living with them are able to fully retire. When kids move back in or they never leave, those are expenses that continue to put you further and further behind building up your nest egg that allow you to fully retire. And while Deanna and I don't have solutions to this other than telling you lock the door, make them promise to be your caregiver forever, you have to kind of be a little creative here. So that is a threat to your nest egg. And then finally, the biggest threat to our nest egg right now, especially if you open up the stock market and look at your phone screen, is overexposure to the stock market as we age. The closer we get to retirement, the less likely we can afford to take a hit and have time to make it up. If you can recall back in 2008, 2009, when the housing market crashed, the stock market dropped almost 50% in a short period of time. Fortunately, had time to build it back up. But if you'd retired at that point, you might not have been able to build it back up there. So it's important to have a plan that to protect your money as long as you age, but make sure that you can take advantage of the stock market without losing money, or how do you do it when the interest rates are low? And if you look at this chart here, this is a historical look at the S&P 500. You come over here in this really deep trough, that's the Great Depression. You hit down here, you see how long it took to grow that money back from right before the Great Depression. It took almost 30, 40 years to get that money back. Then we dropped down here again in 2008, and it takes a while to grow that money back. So it's hard to say when we're going to be able to build that money back. Do we have that time? I took this picture here on the left just a couple of days ago, and another down day in the stock market. When COVID hit, retired savers saw 30+% lost in 2 weeks. You just don't know when you can make that money up. And at the same time, gas prices aren't as high as they were, inflation and gas prices are still going, are yo-yoing back and forth. CD rates aren't that great. It's hard to put the money just in a bank to try to make it up because inflation's outstripping that. A possible solution to your overexposure to the stock market is a tax-deferred asset protection plan endorsed by TCCTA. And it allows you to have this income that you never run out of, serves as a pension. The neat thing about it is it provides you a lifetime income. It allows you competitive returns in the stock market. There's a potential for upside growth, but no downside risk, meaning that you don't have to worry if you open your phone and see that the stock market lost 20 or 2% yesterday, or 200 points or whatever. You don't have to worry about that. You only participate in the gain. So it protects your assets from market risks. Most of us aren't afraid of dying, but almost 68% of us are afraid of running out of money in our retirement years because of inflation, because you don't know what's going to happen medically, long-term care needs, things like that. And so this TCCTA endorsed in tax-deferred asset protection plan allows you to have no underwriting. You don't have to worry about your medical history. You can participate in the market gains and losses, just like I said, with no downside risk. You don't have to worry about the losses. It's for qualified money, like a 457 or a 403B, or it's for non-qualified money that maybe you've had out there, a Roth IRA, or maybe even just CD money sitting out there as well. The thing I like about it, this plan has some long-term care benefits inside of it. Now, Deanna, I know you've helped many retirees as well as TCCTA members with this plan. What do you find that they find most interesting, and what would a conversation look like if someone wanted to know more?
I think what they find the most interesting is the fact that it's no risk for them. And so they don't stand that chance of losing anything in the future. But the second thing that I think has been something that's interest to them is the fact that they can start an income and you get that for life, whether or not you have a zero balance. And because our biggest concern is, are we going to have enough money to retire on? And that takes that away from them. So I think those are the two main things.
Okay. So if somebody wants more information and you contact them, what do you walk through that process? What does that look like when you talk about this?
So if they're wanting more information, it's going to, the first initial time that we get together is going to be more of a fact finding. You know, what do you have? What are your needs? And then we can present them with what we call an illustration to kind of show them what it's going to look like throughout the next couple of years and how it goes. And then if they're interested in it, there'll be some things they have to get together, and we would basically do this on two different times.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So
You're welcome.
again, this is an option. It's a new benefit relative to TCCTA. But again, as Deanna mentioned, what many members are finding is they like the fact that there's no downside risk. They don't have to worry about what the stock market does on the downside. They're only getting gains as they go forward in this particular process. Because think about it, we've got to prepare for many more years of living. If we're working right now, we've got possibly 20, 30 plus more years of living ahead of us. And this means we've got to be prepared for income. We've got to be prepared for inflation, life changes, things like that, medical conditions, long-term care needs. Having a proper plan in place makes a world of difference. And that's what TCCTA does on your behalf, is to look out for you. As members of the education community have helped partner up with us at AMBA to make sure that you have that best outlook going into your retirement years as well as your years right now. So if you've got questions, I would highly encourage you, take your smartphone, open up that camera feature, hover over that QR code. You can use your camera feature, a little form will pop up, and that information will come right back to us, and we'll get to you rather quickly. If you're on your smartphone and you're watching this and you don't have the ability to take a scan of the QR code, you can email me at jon.green@amba.info, and I'll get you directly to Deanna, and she can take care of you in any need that you have. So thank you very much for joining us today. Hope you have a great convention. We look forward to seeing you there. Please stop by our booth, say hello to us, get entered into our drawings, find out more information, ask questions about what we talked about here today, and pick up some goodies. And Patrick and Connor, we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a tremendous convention. and should be a lot of fun over the next several days. Take care, everyone.